Mr. Speaker, Californians could soon be paying over $8 a gallon for gasoline. That is the result of the disastrous policies that have been imposed by Gavin Newsom and the California legislature's supermajority. The most recent news is that there are 2 refineries that are closing operations in California. The Phillips 66 refinery in LA by the end of 2025 and the Valero refinery by April 2026. These 2 facilities, according to a letter from Senate Minority Leader Brian Jones in California, these 2 facilities produce about 20% of California's in-state gasoline supply. Now, according to a recent study by USC professor Michael Meesh, the effect of this is going to be an increase in gas prices in California of up to 75% by April of 2026. The projections estimate a 33.6% increase just by April of 2025. And by next year, by 2026, we could see prices rising as high as $8.43 per gallon by the end of 2026. This is because we're going to see a severe decline in in-state production. Indeed, it could fall from over 34 million gallons per day in 2023 to just 27 million gallons by the end of 2026. Then you factor in the higher transportation costs. You're going to see Californians not only paying these astronomical prices at the gas station, but it's going to increase the cost of goods and services throughout the economy. Not to mention, it's going to lead to the loss of hundreds of jobs for the folks that were working at these refineries, and the gas that we're now going to have to import from other states or other countries is not only going to cost a lot more, but it's going to be way worse for the environment, releasing way more emissions. The fact is, California already has by far the highest gas prices in the country. We pay over 30 cents more than second place Hawaii, which is an island state. And this is because of nonsensical regulations, including the new fuel standard that was just recently imposed by the Air Resources Board, as well as a slew of other regulations related to the fuel mix and other factors, as well as having the highest gas tax of any state in the country. By the way, you'd think we have the highest tax, we must have great roads as a result. Nope, that's not the case either. We have just about the worst roads of any state in the country. How does that work? Highest taxes, deepest potholes. It is a stark illustration of our state government's utter inability to provide effective service to our citizens. So I am calling on Governor Newsom and the state legislature to take immediate action to prevent Californians from having to pay over $8 a gallon for gas by the end of next year. We need immediate action to overturn regulations and to restore common sense in our state. Mr. Speaker, I have sent a letter, along with several of my colleagues in the California delegation, to Secretary of Education Linda McMahon and Attorney General Pam Bondi, asking them to investigate a simple question. Why is it so stunningly easy to commit fraud against the state of California? During the COVID era, we saw fraud unlike we had ever seen when $32 billion in unemployment benefits were purloined from fraudsters, international criminal syndicates who were easily able to defraud Gavin Newsom's unemployment department. And now, the latest example that we've learned is that over a third of community college applications in the state were fraudulent. These were not real people, not real students actually seeking a spot at one of our community colleges. What they were instead were scams, were individuals who were trying and succeeding in committing financial aid fraud, siphoning more than $10 million in federal funds and millions more in state aid, according to the California Community Chancellor's own office. So we have asked the Attorney General and the Secretary of Education to look into this matter and see why California has not been able to stop this from happening. We know that with respect to the EDD fraud in the COVID era, the governor's office failed to take the basic common sense steps that other states took, that the federal government had advised. For example, cross-checking applications for unemployment against the prison rules, something that almost every other state did and California didn't do. And I would not be surprised to learn that there were similar oversights here with respect to the community college fraud. So we look forward to getting back the results of this investigation, and we urge the state to take immediate action to make sure that millions more in taxpayer dollars aren't lost. Mr. Speaker, I rise to commend the Trump administration and specifically Secretary of Labor Lori Chavez-DeRemer for its decision to not enforce the independent contractor rule propounded by the Biden administration. Now, this rule was based upon one of the worst laws ever to pass in the state of California, AB 5, which effectively banned freelancing, independent contracting, self-employment, being your own boss for many, many people. After this law went into effect, we saw thousands upon thousands of Californians lose their livelihood, lose their right to earn a living because of this edict issued by the government. It received bipartisan criticism, and no other state followed California's lead in enacting such a law. But that did not stop the Biden administration from deciding that this law would be its inspiration for national labor policy. The Biden administration, using the regulatory process because it couldn't get it through Congress, enacted an independent contractor rule modeled on California's law, AB 5. And not only that, but the administration brought in the very person who was the architect of AB 5 in California and its chief enforcer, Gavin Newsom's Secretary of Labor, Julie Su, to be his Secretary of Labor, and to enforce it just as aggressively and ruthlessly as she had in California. The problem was, this track record was so disastrous that Ms. Su's nomination stalled in the Senate. She received bipartisan opposition, was never confirmed, and somehow the Biden administration, President Biden, decided to keep her there anyway. It was a very novel theory that Senate confirmation was now optional for cabinet-level officials, and she shattered all records for the longest acting secretary in the history of our country. But at the end of the day, that rule, which, by the way, was tied up in court because there was a lot of reasons why it did not pass legal muster, is no longer being enforced, and the right to earn a living of millions of independent contractors across our country is no longer threatened. I particularly applaud Secretary Chavez-DeRemer when she met with the truckers recently, with a number of truckers, the Trucking Association, for saying that we have your back, because it's the independent owner-operators, tens of thousands of truckers across the country, who were one of the many groups that were threatened by this regulation for consequences for the entire U.S. economy. Now, while this regulatory relief is extremely positive and important, we need to get the definition of independent contracting and protections for freelancers into statute, so we don't have the standard continue to change from one administration to the next. That's why I've introduced the Modern Worker Empowerment Act that will put into statute the standard common law definition of what it means to be an independent contractor. And I'm hopeful that we can get that passed with bipartisan support this Congress. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to let folks in California and across the country know that Medi-Cal, our version of Medicaid, is facing an unprecedented threat. Its very solvency, its sustainability, its ability to provide coverage for Californians is being threatened by a completely reckless policy enacted by Governor Gavin Newsom that does not exist in any of the other 49 states in our country. And because of this reckless policy, Newsom has just had to ask the legislature for a bailout of Medicaid, $2.8 billion, which the legislature provided. Now, of course, what I'm referring to is the policy of providing free, full-scope, comprehensive Medi-Cal coverage to all illegal immigrants in the state who meet the income eligibility requirements. This, again, is a policy that is singular to California. No other state has it. It was initially estimated to cost $3.1 billion. Since that time, the cost just for the first year of coverage, just the first year, has exploded to $9.5 billion. As a result, Governor Newsom, number one, took out a $3.44 billion loan from the state's general fund. That is the maximum allowed by law. But of course, that wasn't enough to close the gap. So then he had to go and ask for a bailout of the program to stave off insolvency. Now, you would think that this would compel Newsom and the legislature to immediately roll back this disastrous experiment. And yet, when Governor Newsom was asked, he said that rolling back this policy was, quote, not on my docket. So let's be very clear that saving Medicaid in California is not on Governor Newsom's docket. Fortunately, we are fighting back and looking to take measures here that will assure that tax dollars of Californians are reserved to provide Medi-Cal coverage for people who are in our state legally. When you think about this cost, $9.5 billion just in the first year, a cost that is basically triple what was originally projected, think what that's going to look like over the next 10 years. We're talking about potentially hundreds of billions of dollars that could be going towards Medi-Cal for our own residents, that is instead going towards a reckless policy that exists nowhere else in the country, that is only going to entice more people who are here illegally to come to California, thereby increasing the costs even more. And by the way, because we're adding all of these additional people to the Medi-Cal rolls, that's making it more difficult for Californians who rely on the program to actually get access to health care. It is extremely difficult to get a doctor's appointment if you're on Medi-Cal in California. It's actually very difficult in some cases if you're on private insurance to get a doctor's appointment in California. And the governor's reckless policy is a big reason why. So we are going to do everything we possibly can here to fight for Californians, to fight for Medicaid in California, and I will do everything I can to protect this program against the governor and legislature's reckless policy. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to take a few moments today to share with folks here in DC and across the country a little bit about a program that I am an alumnus of called Teach for America, and to share why I think this is an extremely important program for us to protect and to support right now and in the years ahead. Right now, we see our schools across this country in a state of crisis. The nation's report card that recently came out revealed truly shocking declines in student achievement. But one bright spot in this otherwise very troubling picture has been Teach for America, otherwise known as TFA. What TFA does is recruits recent college graduates to go and teach in the toughest schools, in schools in low-income communities. It's a very selective program. In some years, the acceptance rate for those who apply to be TFA teachers is as low as 11%. That is, as selective as many of the most elite colleges in the country. So I was a teacher through TFA in Los Angeles. I taught 10th grade English. I had students who were on average had a 4th or 5th grade reading level when they came to my classroom, but I had a tremendous experience. My students achieved significant academic gains as part of my classes. I chaired the English department while I was there. I even started a award-winning speech and debate program that provided opportunities to go and compete for students who otherwise wouldn't have had that experience or had that opportunity. So I want to first, in underlining the importance of this program, speak to my Republican colleagues here in the House, that if you need any one reason why you should support Teach for America, it is that the radical Democrat supermajority in California actually tried to ban the program from our state. That is not an exaggeration. In 2019, this is from a Politico article, backed by powerful teachers' unions, Democrats are pushing to ban Teach for America from California amid a wave of teacher strikes and a heated debate over charter schools in the nation's most popular state. The article goes on to say that the national nonprofit and its recruits, promising college grads eager to teach in poor communities, were in the crosshairs of the state's supermajority Democratic legislature. So why in the world would the Democrat supermajority in California target TFA? I was there in the legislature at the time, and I helped to kill that bill on the state assembly floor. But it did pass the state assembly's education committee. Unbelievably enough, what could possibly have motivated this attack? After all, TFA's mission, its entire purpose, is to close the achievement gaps that exist in this country so that every child, no matter where they were born, no matter what their zip code, will have access to an excellent education. Well, the issue is that in California, the governing majority and the education establishment there have a model of keeping kids trapped in failing schools. And that has been the effect of the policies that have governed the state year after year after year. And so organizations like TFA that, for example, provided alternative pathways to get promising teachers into the classroom, or worst of all, from the perspective of those who ran the legislature, place almost half of their teachers in charter schools, that simply couldn't be tolerated. Indeed, at the time in 2019, Gavin Newsom, who had just taken office, had declared a war on charter schools. Now, charters, which are public schools that have a high level of flexibility as to how they run their school, but in turn are held to a greater standard of accountability, have gotten tremendous results. Studies consistently show that they outperform traditional public schools, and they have a lot of students who are on their wait list. However, the teachers at those schools are not automatically unionized as a matter of default, so that's what inspired Gavin Newsom and his enablers to try to enact, and indeed to succeed in enacting, an anti-charter school agenda. And because TFA placed almost 50% of its teachers in charter schools, they got caught up in it. Now, fortunately, that bill did not pass. TFA has continued to serve thousands of kids in California. And indeed, throughout its history, TFA has placed some 65,000 teachers into classrooms. And this attack in California was truly an aberration. It really speaks to the character of the supermajority in our state specifically that is out of step even with many reasonable Democrats, especially on the issue of education. But there are a couple things that I want to emphasize about the program. Number one is that TFA places teachers in areas that need teachers. It helps to combat the teacher shortage that is particularly acute in particular districts and particular subjects. TFA partners with school districts facing persistent vacancies, especially in low-income, urban, and rural areas. The districts, they request TFA core members for hard-to-staff subjects like STEM, special education, bilingual education. And in fact, in this last school year, over 75% of TFA teachers serve in Title I schools. So the organization is recruiting motivated and talented young people to go and teach in areas where they have a hard time getting teachers. But how do they do once they're there? Well, that's the second thing I want to emphasize, is that TFA teachers have an outstanding track record. Last year, there was a comprehensive study by the American Institutes for Research published. It was a meta-analysis that actually spanned, they looked at 23 pre-existing studies of TFA's impact across 24 years. And so included in that was 63,134 teachers who taught 5 million students. So what did this comprehensive meta-analysis find? That TFA teachers have had a consistent and significant impact on students' academic achievement. On average, students of TFA teachers perform better in math, in science, in reading. Some studies have found that having a TFA teacher adds up to 50 additional days of learning. And beyond that, by the way, many TFA alums go on to found schools. For example, the founders of tremendous charter school networks, KIPP, IDEA, and Yes Prep are TFA alums. Personally, one of the main reasons I decided to run for public office, first in the legislature and then for Congress, was my experience as a classroom teacher. And it motivated me to become the vice chair of the State Assembly Education Committee, and now here in the House, the chair of the K-12 Education Subcommittee. Now, TFA is an AmeriCorps program. It is one of the professional core programs for AmeriCorps. So what that means is that the teachers who are part of TFA, they are employees of a particular school district or of a charter school. So for example, I was an employee of the Los Angeles Unified School District, but they also receive a Siegel AmeriCorps Education Award. And the reason that that is vital is because TFA is providing an alternative pathway into the classroom where you can start teaching soon after graduating college. They have a intensive summer program where students do summer school and receive training. They continue to receive support from TFA as an organization throughout their time teaching. And then they're also simultaneously pursuing a teaching credential. Sometimes that takes the form of a master's of education, which is what I received. So, for example, when I was teaching 10th grade English, one day a week, after spending the whole day teaching, I would then drive across town to a local college or grad school where I sat in class for 5 or 6 hours on that particular day, working towards my credential. And so the Education Award helps students or the TFA teachers to pay for that degree or for that credential. And it would be very hard for many of them to actually be part of the program without this award. And so I have heard reports recently that there have been some of these grants that are in jeopardy or maybe have been lost already, putting several thousand current teachers and several thousand more future teachers in a state of uncertainty. And while I have personal experience with this particular AmeriCorps program, I know that there are many others that fill similarly critical needs in different sectors of society. In fact, AmeriCorps' own definition of a professional core program recognizes that the placements are a strategic response to long-standing workforce gaps, so it's not simply service programs, they're workforce solutions. So that's why I have respectfully requested in a letter that I'm sending today that the Appropriations Committee and its subcommittee on Labor, Health, and Human Services provide robust funding for AmeriCorps in the coming fiscal year. And I'm urging my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to come together in support of TFA and these other critical programs. Mr. Speaker, at this moment, we have an opportunity to catalyze a school choice revolution across America. And one has never been more desperately needed. The nation's report card recently came out, and the verdict was clear. Our public education system is failing. The National Assessment of Education Progress show 1/3 of students are unable to read at the basic level for their age group, and math scores are down 9% since 2018. Now, the Biden administration's response was to continue to shovel more money into a failing system. They threw $200 billion in tax dollars into the same failed system with absolutely nothing to show for it. In fact, things got worse. You can put this on a graph. The level of funding has gone up, student achievement has gone down. It's been a negative return on investment. But right now, we can change that with reforms that will actually work in expanding opportunity, giving choices to millions of families, and providing a healthy sense of drive towards improvement in our public education system generally. And that is through two pieces of legislation that I am sponsoring and that can also be included as part of the budget reconciliation process. The first is the Educational Choice for Children Act, which will provide a tax credit for charitable contributions that enable scholarships to attend private, parochial, and independent schools. This could potentially expand private school choice to millions of families in this country. And then secondly, along with Representative Claudia Tenney and others, I've introduced the High Quality Charter Schools Act, which will significantly expand access to charter schools across the country. It uses a similar mechanism, leveraging the tax code through an innovative federal tax credit that will allow the nation's most effective charter networks to create new high-quality seats. In particular, it will provide a tax credit to cover startup costs for expanding charter schools that already have a track record of success. This is very important because you have a lot of families who are on waiting lists for charters. And we estimate that this measure could potentially triple the number of students across the country who receive this particular form of school choice, of charter schools, which have a tremendous track record in advancing student achievement. I'll give you one example. Success Academy, which was founded in New York City, manages 57 schools serving 22,000 inner city children. They're 93% non-white, 72% low income, with phenomenal results at impressive scale. For 8 years in a row, Success has a 100% four-year college acceptance rate. Its students routinely outperform more affluent school districts, and 14 of New York City's top 25 schools in math are Success Academies. Think about that. Over half of the top schools in New York City in math are Success Academy campuses. That's why there is so much demand to attend these schools. The number of families that apply is 10 times the number of available seats. So they have to lottery them off. There's so much demand. You have to enter the lottery, and you have a 10% chance of winning that lottery. This bill would allow them to expand more campuses, and other successful charter schools across the country to expand their campuses. So between these two measures, the Educational Choice for Children Act and the High Quality Charter School Act, we could expand meaningful school choice, meaningful options to millions and millions of families in every community across the country, which would benefit those families, and it would also reach the critical mass of school choice in many areas that would compel improvements in traditional school districts as well. So this is really a moment when we need to ask ourselves what our priorities are. Because, and this isn't true of all of them, but in general, the Biden administration and Democratic majorities have moved our education system in the wrong direction. They've had the wrong policies. I believe Republicans have generally had the right policies, but the question is, what kind of priority are we going to place on those policies? What kind of priority are we going to give education? What kind of priority are we, and sense of urgency, are we going to bring to the fact that our schools across this country are failing far too many of our kids? Now is the time to show that our commitment to education and reform and school choice goes beyond just slogans, goes beyond political arguments, but is a real commitment to advancing the education and the life prospects for kids all across America. We have a chance to do that right now by assuring these measures are enacted into law. Mr. Speaker, I rise to commend the Sacramento Metro Chamber of Commerce and the well over 450 people who joined the Chamber's Cap-to-Cap program to visit Washington, D.C. this week. This was the 53rd annual Capital to Capital, or Cap-to-Cap program, where people, community leaders from the Sacramento region come here to D.C. to participate in programming and to advocate for our region to lawmakers. I had the chance to be part of this in many different ways. We had a bipartisan discussion that I was part of with Representative Ami Bera, and I met with well over 100, probably closer to 200, Cap-to-Cap leaders throughout the week to discuss issues of importance to them and to the communities, the industries, the sectors that they lead. I had very productive discussions with a number of actionable items about public safety, wildfire prevention, natural resources, transportation infrastructure, and California water, issues that are so important to our region and our communities, and I am so grateful that so many leaders in the Sacramento area came here to discuss these matters. So I wanted to say thank you to everyone who took the time out of your busy schedule to come here. It has, I think, allowed in the past this program to enable our region to punch above its weight. Indeed, this is the biggest chamber trip, I understand, to DC that exists anywhere in the country. And it really underscores the tremendous spirit of collaboration that exists in our region. That we have so many people who, it crosses party lines, it crosses different communities, different zip codes, who are working together, who are all rowing in the same direction for the benefit of our region. We've been able to achieve tremendous things because of that. We've been able to maintain a quality of life for the folks that we represent, so that our region remains a great place to live, to work, to raise a family, to retire. The Cap-to-Cap program has been a very big part of allowing that to continue, of giving our region a cohesive identity, and I look forward to the 54th annual trip next year. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honor and recognize the 2025 graduating class of Leadership Rockland. This prestigious program is run by the Rockland Area Chamber of Commerce and provides an opportunity for participants to build upon their leadership skills while developing meaningful relationships with community and local business leaders. The areas of learning for this program include leadership skills and theory, education, volunteerism and community service, Rockland civics, public safety, transportation, health and human services, economic development, the history of Rockland, and much more. Leadership Rockland holds high esteem in the community and is recognized by leaders as an important way to prepare those who wish to further serve and learn about their community. I commend the participants for their dedication to civic engagement and their commitment to leadership development. Therefore, on behalf of California's 3rd Congressional District and the United States House of Representatives, I am proud to congratulate this year's Leadership Rockland graduating class. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to congratulate and recognize Hebert Insurance Solutions for their 75-year anniversary. Hebert Insurance Solutions is a family-owned, independent insurance agency in Loomis, California, a town located in Placer County. Christine Hebert Summers, who began working for the family business at an early age, is the 3rd-generation owner. Her grandfather, Roy, started the business back in 1950. Roy would take Christine to the office back when she was in kindergarten. At the time, she would help around the office in exchange for a toy and some candy at the main drugstore. Christine's father, Roy Jr., managed the business until 2003, when Christine officially purchased the business from him. For more than 7 decades, the Hebert Insurance team has been committed to working closely with their clients to help them make important and informed decisions relating to their protection and future. They prioritize customer service and are committed to treating their customers like family. Hebert Insurance continues to be a staple in Placer County and surrounding communities. In addition to providing exceptional services, they are tremendously involved in their community. They're often seen volunteering with local organizations such as the Sir Optimus International Loomis Basin, taking leadership roles at the local Chamber of Commerce, serving at the Senior Center, and contributing to multiple youth programs. It is an honor to represent exemplary businesses such as Hebert Insurance Solutions in Congress. Therefore, on behalf of California's 3rd Congressional District and the United States House of Representatives, it is my honor and privilege to congratulate them on their 75-year anniversary. Congratulations. Mr. Speaker, in recognition of National Teacher Appreciation Week, I wanted to take an opportunity to highlight the service of some of the truly amazing educators in California's 3rd Congressional District. In his 1988 proclamation, Ronald Reagan said, "Our country's great teachers often make many sacrifices as they fulfill their countless responsibilities. They have earned and truly deserve the utmost gratitude and esteem of students, parents, and community members." It is in that spirit that I rise today and recognize 15 individual teachers from throughout California's 3rd Congressional District for their exceptional dedication to their roles, students, schools, and communities. With representing almost 70 school districts and close to 300 K-12 schools, these teachers stand out among their colleagues and have made an indelible mark on their students and communities. As a former educator myself, I understand the unique challenges our educators face and the passion and dedication it takes to enable our students to succeed. A great teacher can help shape and transform the trajectory of a student's life and their perspective on learning. As such, we are quite fortunate to have truly exceptional schools teachers and administrators educating and supporting the next generation in California's 3rd Congressional District. Therefore, I'd like to extend my gratitude to all of our community's teachers this week and to thank them for their tireless devotion to promoting academic achievement, student success, and educational opportunities. And if you are an educator, I encourage you to reach out to my office or visit kiley.house.gov for federal resources and services available to local teachers and students. Mr. Speaker, in honor of National Teacher Appreciation Week, I'd like to take a moment to recognize Mrs. Janice Rowe, a kindergarten teacher in the Pleasant Ridge School District at Cottage Hill Elementary School. For 40 years, Mrs. Rowe has been teaching the kindergarten grade level. Her commitment to her students, colleagues, and district is unmatched. Mrs. Rowe not only instills a strong literary and mathematical foundation for young learners, but also creates a safe and caring environment where students can thrive and their love for learning is ignited. She is instrumental towards establishing new academic programs, standards, and expectations for all kindergarten students, leading the continued development of the district's kindergarten programs. She's often known for enrolling in classes, programs, and workshops to further develop her professional skills, and for working late to prepare a special and hands-on learning experience for her students. Not only does Mrs. Rowe demonstrate a care and commitment to her students, but she is also relied upon by her colleagues to provide help, mentorship, and collaboration. Mrs. Rowe has shaped the high standards of excellence that the community has come to expect of the school and school district. Mrs. Rowe's 4 decades of commitment to teaching kindergarten students has provided a lasting benefit for students' introduction to public schools and foundational growth. It is a true honor to represent exemplary teachers, such as Mrs. Rowe, in the United States House of Representatives. Therefore, in honor of her passion, dedication, her belief in the transformative power of education, and her commitment to our students' success, it is my privilege to recognize Mrs. Janice Rowe in celebration of National Teacher Appreciation Week. Mr. Speaker, in honor of National Teacher Appreciation Week, I'd like to take a moment to recognize Mr. Dominic Albano, a 4th grade teacher with 30 years in the profession at Union Hill Elementary School. Since 1996, Mr. Albano has been an extraordinary educator, teacher, and mentor, whose legacy has touched thousands of lives. His commitment to bringing history alive for his 4th grade students is unparalleled, blending rigorous academics with immersive, unforgettable experiences. His passion for California's gold country, the 49er gold rush, and Wild West history has created traditions that are now woven into the very fabric of Union Hill's culture. Students of Mr. Albano receive a living, breathing understanding of history and our nation's story. Beyond his dynamic and integrative teaching style, Mr. Albano is also a beloved coach who has grown Union Hill's cross-country and track and field programs into teams of nearly 90 students. That's in a school of just 700, a tribute to the magnetism of his leadership. He inspires students not only to learn, but to believe in themselves, which is instrumental towards shaping their future. Not only does Mr. Albano make a meaningful difference in his students' lives, but he plays an instrumental role in mentoring student teachers and collaborating with his colleagues. Mr. Albano is known by others for being a Union Hill legend, a builder of traditions, and a cultivator of character. He is treasured by his school and community for his reliability, kindness, positivity, and generosity. I am confident that the impact of his contributions will be felt for generations to come. It is a true honor to represent exemplary teachers like Mr. Albano in the United States House of Representatives. Therefore, in honor of his dedication to serving his students and community with passion, humility, and excellence, it is my privilege to recognize Mr. Dominic Albano in celebration of National Teacher Appreciation Week. Mr. Speaker, in honor of National Teacher Appreciation Week, I'd like to take a moment to recognize Mrs. Miranda Prukish, a special education teacher in the Sierra Plumas Joint Unified School District at Loyalton Elementary School. Mrs. Prukish is an exceptional educator whose unwavering commitment to student success has made a profound impact within the Sierra Plumas Joint Unified School District. As a leader in special education with a decade of experience, Mrs. Prukish has continually developed and refined her program to meet the diverse needs of her students, demonstrating innovation, adaptability, and a deep sense of care. Serving in a rural community where educational challenges are often magnified, she has gone above and beyond to ensure that every student receives personalized support and opportunities to thrive. She is a tireless champion for her students, ensuring their needs are represented and addressed with compassion and integrity. Her collaborative spirit and willingness to work alongside general education colleagues fosters inclusive and equitable learning environment. Mrs. Prukish's creativity, professionalism, and genuine devotion to her students make her a role model for other educators. It is a true honor to represent exemplary teachers, such as Mrs. Prukish, in the United States House of Representatives. Therefore, in honor of the outstanding contributions to her school and the difference she continues to make in students' lives every day, it is my privilege to recognize Mrs. Miranda Prukish in celebration of National Teacher Appreciation Week. Mr. Speaker, in the spirit of National Teacher Appreciation Week, I wish to highlight Mr. Steve Holland, whose 29 years of dedicated service in education exceed standards throughout the Bishop Unified School District. Mr. Holland began teaching in the Bishop Unified School District in 1996 as a middle school teacher, and more recently has been teaching the 4th grade. Known for his kindness, calm demeanor, and unwavering dedication, Mr. Holland has consistently gone above and beyond to support learning both academically and emotionally. Through his innovative teaching methods, he continues to keep students engaged and inspired. In addition to his deep commitment to student achievement, he has also served as a coach and grade-level leader, providing mentorship to his fellow educators and leaving a legacy of impact, integrity, and inspiration. Mr. Holland has left an indelible mark on countless students, colleagues, and families within his community. Therefore, on behalf of the United States House of Representatives, I am pleased to recognize Mr. Steve Holland for his substantial contributions to the Bishop Unified School District and the students of the Bishop community. Mr. Speaker, in the spirit of National Teacher Appreciation Week, I wish to take a moment to recognize an outstanding middle school math educator in California's 3rd Congressional District, Mrs. Brandy Rost. During her 29 years of dedicated service to the Lone Pine Unified School District, she has taught thousands of students, transforming their view of math from an intimidating subject to one that is exciting and achievable. Mrs. Rost is known for her creative instructional style, integrating hands-on activities, technology, and real-world applications, instilling engagement from students and empowering every student to succeed. Perhaps most remarkable is the academic transformation Mrs. Ross has led since the COVID pandemic. In the wake of prolonged school closures, Loyola Elementary School saw its math scores drop to new lows, with just 20% of students meeting or exceeding standards. Recognizing this challenge, Mrs. Ross spearheaded an extraordinary resolve. She retooled her instruction, built targeted interventions, and created a classroom culture where growth in math became not just a goal, but an expectation. Each year since the pandemic, her students' performance has climbed significantly. In the most recent testing, over 70% of her students met or exceeded the math standard, a score that doesn't just surpass local benchmarks, but also substantially outperforms the state average. The story of Mrs. Brandy Rost is one of resilience, excellence, and impact. Her dedicated efforts not only recovered learning loss, but also illustrated what success in rural education can look like. Alongside these momentous achievements, and beyond her classroom, Mrs. Ross is a mentor to new students, a trusted colleague, and a favorite among families. Her impact spans generations in the Lone Pine community, where former students now bring their own children to her class with pride and gratitude. On behalf of the United States House of Representatives, I am honored to recognize educator Mrs. Brandy Rost as an example of what it means to teach with passion, purpose, and heart. Mr. Speaker, in the spirit of National Teacher Appreciation Week, I wish to recognize an outstanding and prominent educator in California's 3rd Congressional District. I'd like to highlight in particular, a teacher from the Roseville Joint Union High School District, Brandon Delorto, who has dedicated 35 years to educating the students of our community. Mr. Delorto is a passionate historian and a mentor. He spent most of his career teaching AP U.S. History, IB History of the Americas, Military History, and World History at Granite Bay High School. Not only does Mr. Delorto have a deep understanding of these subjects, but he also knows how to bring historical events to life. His integrative and engaging teaching style fosters student success while inspiring a lasting passion for history. Beyond the classroom, he's even been recognized by the Daughters of the American Revolution and Founding Forward for his excellence in teaching and ability to foster a deep appreciation of American history and civic responsibility among his students. Mr. Delorto is an exceptional educator, and he continues to make a strong impact in the educational journey of his students. It is a true honor to represent exemplary teachers like him in Congress, and I commend Mr. Delorto for his more than 3 decades of unwavering dedication to education and promoting student success and academic achievement. And I will say, as actually a former student of Mr. Delorto myself, he is one of the truly best teachers that I've ever had, and that goes for high school, college, law school. He's truly one of a kind, and you will rarely see someone who has such a palpable passion for the subject matter that he's teaching and an ability to inspire that same love of learning in his students. And I really credit his class in many ways for inspiring my own love for American history. So on behalf of the United States House of Representatives, it's really an honor to recognize Mr. Brandon Delorto for his significant contributions to Roseville Joint Union High School District and to the students of the Roseville community. Mr. Speaker, in the spirit of National Teacher Appreciation Week, I wish to take a moment to recognize a teacher from the Forest Hill Union School District, Ann Jones, who has dedicated 35 years of her career to educating the students of her community. Mrs. Jones has been a devoted and passionate first-grade teacher, and she's inspired generations of the community's young scholars with her warmth, patience, and with her clear passion for education. She goes beyond teaching her students the fundamentals of reading and math, and also instills values in them that are invaluable for the learning community, the values of kindness, gratitude, and creativity. She brings joy and cheer to the classroom and creates an environment in which students feel emboldened to explore their ideas and express themselves, which helps facilitate their academic and personal growth. It is a true honor to represent exemplary teachers in Congress, and I commend Mrs. Ann Jones for her more than 3 decades of dedication to education and to promoting student success and academic achievement. Therefore, on behalf of the United States House of Representatives, I am pleased to recognize Mrs. Ann Jones for her significant contributions to Forest Hill Union School District and to the students of the Forest Hill community. Mr. Speaker, in the spirit of National Teacher Appreciation Week, I wish to take a moment to highlight a teacher from the Dry Creek Joint Elementary School District, Samantha Harvey, who has dedicated 9 years of her career to educating the students of her community. Mrs. Harvey serves as a 5th grade level leader. Within her role, she consistently demonstrates traits of a natural leader, such as the ability to lead by example, motivate colleagues, facilitate collaboration, and so much more. She has built an educational environment to ensure that students and teachers alike feel valued, supported, and heard. As the positive behavioral intervention and supports lead, Mrs. Harvey's efforts in providing a variety of differentiated strategies and ensuring students have the necessary tools for success while maintaining a positive environment have been instrumental in shaping school culture. Mrs. Harvey also develops student athletes through her role as a cross-country coach and helps young athletes learn the important lifelong skills of perseverance, teamwork, and resilience while leading them to excel in competition. Furthermore, as check-in and check-out coordinator, Mrs. Harvey ensures that students have the structure and support they need to thrive in school. She mentors students and provides accountability to help them stay on track both academically and socially. Behind the scenes, Mrs. Harvey is valued by her colleagues as she displays a commitment to teamwork, collaboration, and a continual willingness to lend a helping hand. It is a true honor to represent exemplary teachers like her in Congress, and I commend Mrs. Samantha Harvey for her tireless devotion to education and to promoting student success and academic achievement. Therefore, on behalf of the United States House of Representatives, I am pleased to recognize Mrs. Samantha Harvey for her significant contributions to Dry Creek Joint Elementary School District and to the students of the Roseville community. Mr. Speaker, in the spirit of National Teacher Appreciation Week, I wish to take a moment to recognize a teacher from the Loomis Union School District, Samantha Mashinchi, who has dedicated 15 years of her career to educating the students of her community. Currently, she teaches 5th grade at an international baccalaureate school and has consistently demonstrated an unwavering devotion to fostering growth and excellence for her students. She nurtures the natural curiosity of her students with a global perspective. In doing so, she helps equip them with the skills needed to thrive in an interconnected world. Mrs. Mashinchi has consistently demonstrated leadership and a passion for her role, working tirelessly to help each student reach their full potential. It is a true honor to represent exemplary teachers like her in Congress, and I commend her for her tireless devotion to education and dedication to promoting student success and academic achievement. Therefore, on behalf of the United States House of Representatives, I am pleased to recognize Mrs. Samantha Mashinchi for her significant contributions to Loomis Union School District and to the students of the Loomis community. Mr. Speaker, in the spirit of National Teacher Appreciation Week, I wish to highlight a teacher from Placer County, Tina Angel, who has dedicated the past 8 years of her career to educating the students of her community. Miss Angel owned and operated her own business before going to work for the Placer County Office of Education. She then obtained her career technical education credential, focusing on business and information and communication technology pathways. Miss Angel taught in this capacity for a few years, and then once again decided to obtain an additional credential in special education, so she could support students with mild to moderate learning disabilities. Miss Angel also provides students with a special opportunity by being qualified to teach dual enrollment classes through a partnership with a local college in my district, Sierra College. Miss Angel is known for being an exceptional teacher and a lifelong learner. She provides real-life applications in her classroom and strives to prepare high school students for college and future career opportunities. Her engaging and integrative teaching style, which is accompanied by her passion for teaching and for her students, inspires those in her class to reach their full potential. It is a true honor to represent exemplary teachers like her in Congress, and I commend Miss Angel for her dedication to education and to promoting student success and academic achievement. Therefore, on behalf of the United States House of Representatives, I am pleased to recognize Miss Tina Angel for her significant contributions to the students of Placer County. Mr. Speaker, in the spirit of National Teacher Appreciation Week, I wish to take a moment to recognize a teacher from Rockland Unified School District, Holly Gottwals, who has dedicated 24 years of her career to educating the students of her community. Mrs. Gottwals, a graduate of Sacramento State, showcases innovation, compassion, and dedication in her classroom. She teaches a special education adult transition class for students who are 18 to 22 years old with moderate to severe needs and did not receive a high school diploma. Mrs. Gottwals focuses her class on teaching her students functional English and math, current events, independent living, and vocational skills, cooking, fitness, and nutrition, how to be involved in their community, mobility training, social skills, self-advocacy, and career awareness. In a remarkable manner, Mrs. Gottwals tailors each lesson to each individual student. She goes as far as to work closely with local community businesses to secure job training opportunities for her students that match their interests and skills. She looks to the future of her students, and some go on to other educational institutions, such as the UC Davis Seed Program, while others are able to secure jobs locally in our community. Mrs. Gottwals fosters a sense of independence and confidence in the classroom. She is not just an educator, as she has proven to be a strong advocate and role model for her students. Her tireless devotion to her students brings out their unique potential and prepares them for opportunities to fulfill their dreams. It is an honor to represent exemplary educators like her in Congress, and I commend Mrs. Holly Gottwals for her exceptional dedication to education and to promoting student successes and academic achievement. Therefore, on behalf of the United States House of Representatives, I'm pleased to recognize Mrs. Holly Gottwals for her significant contributions to Rockland Unified School District and to the students of the Rockland community. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield back.
The gentleman yields. Under the Speaker's